Hello everyone, this is my second Power BI video in English, and in this video I'm gonna tell you 4 tips regarding incremental refresh. A new feature, not so new feature, but for pro accounts it's very new, so it's very important to know how to make incremental refresh to have better refreshes, to have faster refreshes. Okay, let's go. So first I'm gonna tell you how to work faster in Power BI desktop using parameters. Second topic is how to set up incremental refresh. Third, how to make sure that incremental refresh is going to work. There are some rules to that. And then in the last step, I'm gonna show you something that I never saw before. I think no one has ever shown this before, okay? How to visualize the partitions on the dataset, on the Power BI dataset, which is the model that is on Microsoft, okay? It's on the cloud. Let's go. So here, first topic. This topic here is important because people complain about Power BI being slow. Power BI takes too much memory from your computer and so on. But some years back, if you go some years back and see how professionals from analysis service work, that uses analysis service, you're gonna see that they start with less data than the table, the complete table. So they filter the table, they create partitions. In Power BI desktop, we're not used to do that. We prefer to import all the table and work with all the table, all the columns and so on. So first step is to first, always choose only the columns you want. Only the columns you want. First, this is the first step, always. Second step you can make here on Power BI, on Power Query, it's to filter the data only to a small piece so you can develop faster. If you develop faster, everything is better, right? A very good point for this is to reduce the file size. By reducing the file size, you get much more performance, much better performance, and work faster in Power BI. Okay, so let's go. Here on Power BI, I have a very simple model from AdventureWorks, okay? And then here on the transform data option, which is Power Query, we are gonna see that. Let me edit credentials here. I am using my Windows server, okay, connect. And here I chose only 4 columns, okay? And this is the first step, always. If you import a table, a whole table like I did here, okay? So I chose the server, the table, all the table here first, and then I chose only the columns I want. I choose only the columns I want by clicking this button here. Okay, nice. In order to work faster in Power BI, what you can make, and this is very easy to understand when you are using incremental refresh, is using parameters. And incremental refresh asks for 2 mandatory parameters, range start and range end. They must be a date time type, okay? They must be a date time type. Okay, then I put here, in the range start I put 2014, and in the range end 2012.
20.
Okay, we are in 2012 now.
20.
Let's go here to the main table, and we must do here something, which is filter this order date or some date you want to filter, okay? It has to be always a date type column. So you go here with the filter option. In the filter option, go to date time filters, between, and then you choose here, change to parameter, range start. So it's after or equal to range start, okay? And then it's before only, not before or equal to range end, here. Click OK, and then you are gonna see that this file now has only data for 2014 because it ends on 2014, okay? So imagine that AdventureWorks closed their store, their company on 2014. This is the last year we have here in this data. And then, look at this. If I go back here to the Power BI without applying changes, you can see that I have 2005 here and 2014. The first date, it's in Portuguese here, but this is the first date and this is the last date, okay? In this file here, with all this data I have here, this 9 years, 10 years, I will save now, apply later. I'm gonna note here, I'm gonna write here for you. Take notes to the size of the file with data from 2005 to 2014. The file here has 21 megabytes, okay? Imagine if we had a very big table or a very big data set, a very big database. This file could be very, very large, very large. And then if I choose all rows to work in Power BI Desktop, I can have problems. It's gonna be slow, memory will end on your machine, and you cannot work properly. So let's go here to Power Query and close and apply. You're gonna see our dates here will change, and also the size of the file. Let's wait. Okay, it's going. Okay, 2014, first date, last date 2014 as well. 1.82 billion. This is in reais. It's the Brazilian currency, because my machine is in the Brazilian system, okay? Let's save, and I'm gonna tell you now the size, the new size, which is 1.6 megabytes, okay? So here, size of the file with data for 2014 only 1.6 megabytes. Okay? Much smaller than the first one and much easier to work on Power BI. Now I save and I can go to the incremental refresh part. I just did this first topic was to show you how to work on Power BI Desktop by having less data. Because on Power BI Online, the service, you are gonna retrieve the other part of the data. You don't need all the data here on Power BI Desktop. You can develop with one day, or even without one row you must have, right? You must have at least one row on the table, on the tables. And then it's okay to work, to develop with this. Because this is a very important statement, which is Power BI Desktop is not your visualization environment. You visualize the data, you analyze the data on the service. Power BI Desktop, it is actually the development environment. Okay? So you use Power BI Desktop only to develop. That's why you don't need all the data. That's why it must be fast. Nice. Let's go back to Power BI, and now let's configure the incremental refresh by clicking here on the table, right-click, incremental refresh, and then you choose here, OK, on. Be sure to do not have, or at least pay attention to a warning that might appear here. If there is a warning here, a yellow warning, you must check for something I will show you in the next couple of minutes. So here you change the values to store rows where the column order date is in the last. So here is the number of days or years, months that you want to keep on the data set, on your data. Let's suppose we want to keep data from 2010 until 2020, 2019 actually. So there are 10 years. Let's put here 10 years. It is always based on today. In the last, based on today, starting from today, the last 10 years, and I want to refresh only 2020. So I put here 1 year. Okay? The same thing. This does not represent 365 days. It represents the start of the year until the end of the year, which is today. Okay? The current year. Here, there are two options that you don't need to mark, okay? And I will let you learn more here on the documentation. Apply, and then let's publish. Let's publish. I'm gonna publish here, save, and then I'm gonna choose here my workspace. It's gonna be very fast. It's very, very small model, goes very quickly here. Okay, got it? So you go here to Power BI, let me refresh. It's gonna show here. Okay, now this is the same report, the very same one with the same data, but when I go to datasets, this is in Portuguese, okay? Datasets, and then you put here refresh. I think I have to configure the gateway first. Let's go. Configurations, credentials, it's okay. Don't need to. And then refresh. Let's go. Let's see. I'm gonna wait here. It's gonna take a bit, and then I come back. Okay, it's done. Let's go back here to reports, and then let's choose our report. It's cached, so you have to refresh here, and then see 2010 until 2014, because we don't have data here from 2015 until today. We are gonna input values in our database to see this working, to see the incremental refresh working. Nice. So I'm gonna go here to the Management Studio, and then new query. Let me put here something like, let me see. I'm gonna do the following, okay? I am gonna change the sales amount value for a specific day, whatever, like this, 2014, for example, 2014 on February and 20. And I'm gonna change this value to a very big number in order to see if it's gonna update or not in Power BI. And then I'm gonna change also the sales amount value for 2012.
20.
Sorry, 2020. If I said 2012 before, sorry, 2020. 2020, same day and same month. But I don't have this value here, so I have to import, right? To include, to insert. Let's go. I'm gonna do an update here, update the name of the table, fact. Don't do this on your production environment. This is just for test. Update, set, sales amount, equals to a very big number here. Okay, where order date is equal to, I can do this in Portuguese, the inverse, okay? 2002 2014. It's gonna work. It's gonna work. Let's see. So I have here 1408 rows affected. Let's do the same for the future, for 2020, okay? But first, then I'm gonna change a date. I'm not gonna insert here because there are some restrictions regarding foreign key, whatever, and I'm gonna do this because it's easier to show. So first, let me put here order date equal to this one, okay? This one, but on the other side, like this, 2012, 2020, okay. And here I'm gonna change, for example, another date, okay, another 21, for example, 21. I'm changing the date to 2020 first, okay, worked. And now I'm gonna change this, the sales amount, to this date here, which I just created. The same number here, same quantity of rows. Okay, now I have very big numbers on sales amount for 2014 and 2020 as well. Let's do the following. Let's go to Power BI, Online, Service, Datasets, and Refresh. Let's see. That number must increase, must be very large now, the sales amount number. Very fast. Let's go to Reports, Incremental Refresh, and then it's cached. Let's refresh here. Done. It worked. And the last date now is, this is the day, month, and year, okay? So the last date here is the new one that I just created, just changed actually. Nice. Now to show you that this really works, that only 2020 is gonna refresh, I will go back here and then I will change the sales amount for the 2014 data. Let's put 0, for example, and press F5. Okay, it refreshed, so I reduce the sales amount value. If I go back here and then look at this, remember this number. Let's go back here to dataset, let's refresh. And now, if I go back to the report, it should not update that value because it's a value on 2014 and I'm updating only 2020. So let's refresh here. Yes, that's what we wanted, okay? So all rows from the first date of 2020 back, are not gonna change. They will remain the same numbers. Just 2020 now is gonna change. So it's working fine, that's what we want. Nice, let's go here to the desktop Power BI version. And then I'm gonna show you something that few people do, okay? Few people show. Let's go here to Power Query, and then I'm gonna show here something that we must be very careful, okay? Usually we don't import our tables, at least in Brazil, people in Brazil that work with Power BI, we do not import our tables from choosing the table selector in the new source option. Usually we write a query. We write a statement here, a select statement like this. Go to new source and then go to SQL Server. Let me put here my localhost server, the database name, let me copy from here. And let me copy the table name as well, which is this one. Let's suppose I do the following query here, the same one, like this. Let's say I want to select product key, unit price, sales amount, and order date from factory seller sales. Okay, it's gonna show us the same very table without the filtered rows yet. Click OK. And here, on this table here, this new query, we go to the filter. Let's suppose we go here to the filter and do the date time filters between the same parameters. Here, parameter, range start, parameter, range end. Is before, okay? Before only. Do not choose equal to on both sides. Okay. And now you're gonna see that this is gonna take forever and will not work. What we just made here, when we write a SQL statement, a query like this, and do any transformation on Power Query after that, you are going to lose what we call query folding, which is sending the native query to the source. If you do any transformation on Power Query after after importing a query like I did, you're gonna lose query folding. This is very important in order to make the incremental refresh work. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. How can I see if I have a native query being sent to the source? Like this, you go here on the applied steps with the right click on the last step and see if there is a native query option here enabled. In this case, it's not enabled. So all data, all this table had to be loaded into the memory of my machine, and then after that, it applied the filter. So it's gonna take much more time than not using incremental refresh. But don't worry if you already use SQL statements and you want to keep them. You can keep using SQL statements with incremental refresh if you pay attention to this and you do the following. You must remove all other steps and keep only the source. So you go here, remove, and here you have to do something to the SQL statement. You have to put the range start and range end filters inside this statement, inside this query. You must do everything on the query. You cannot use Power Query for anything else, only to import the source with this statement, okay? So here, let me copy here. I have a statement with the change that we need to do. It's quite simple. Just include the filters here with the where condition like this. Let me remove here and do the following. I think it's done, okay? So what I did here, I just included the where condition here with the filters, okay? With order date greater than the range start parameter. I can call the parameters here on the query, okay? So that's the point. So the only thing that I had to do here is to transform the datetime type to text, because I use this filter as a text on the query. Okay, so text from range start, and here order date less than is before the range end. Nice, let's enter. Yes, it works. Okay, so now I have only one query and query folding is enabled. Query folding is working here, and I can push a native query to the source. So if you go here, you won't see this native query here enabled, but you can be sure that it is working, okay? Let me delete this query here. I'm not gonna use it anymore, okay? And let's see this one again. This first one, which is retrieving the table from the table navigation, not from writing a SQL statement. And then after that, I apply the filter. Usually people think this is worse than writing a SQL statement, but not. But this is much better. If you go here with the right click, and you're gonna see view native query, and then look at this. All the queries were transformed into a native query, and it sent this query here to the source, to my localhost server. Okay, very important. Nice. Let's close and apply here. I don't need any anymore. I just made everything working. Okay, now it's done. Okay, so about these 3 topics here, I already talked to you. Let's go to the last one, to the 4th. Very nice also, which is the following. I can see behind the scenes what Power BI made for working with incremental refresh. Power BI created partitions on our data. How can we see that? We only can see that if we have a premium workspace here. We can connect to the model, to the dataset, only if we have a workspace in the premium capacity, I have here on configurations a premium capacity available. Okay, it's a A1SQ from the Power BI embedded resource on Azure. It's okay, you have all the capabilities, some capabilities actually, from Power BI Premium. You can test because you pay only by hour on the Power BI embedded resource, and it's much cheaper, much cheaper. This workspace here has an URL, and I will copy this URL, copy, okay, let's save it, and let's go to Management Studio again. Here you connect to a Analysis Services server, which is this one. You type your password. Okay, so the URL that I just copied, I pasted here. And then this is the workspace here in blue, and this now is the dataset. These are the datasets actually. If I had more than one dataset on my Power BI service, it would appear here. Let's see something very nice here, which is the tables, partitions option. Okay, partitions, go to the table and click partitions. Look at this. Now you can understand what we made when we chose 10 for keeping the last 10 years and for updating the last year. Let me organize here. Okay, so these are the 10 years that it's keeping intact without changing anything. And this is the 1 year we are changing. So there are partitions here, filters made by year. Okay, and then it's very easy to understand, to see that only the last year is taking effect in the refresh because of the difference of the time here. If I refresh just now, this value here will change, this time, and the other ones won't change. Okay, so this is something I have never seen before in Power BI videos, in Power BI articles, whatever. Something very, very nice. Of course, this is something just to view now, but there will be an update. You can type like this, XML endpoint Power BI. There will be an update soon in this year that will allow us to work directly from the Management Studio. I will be able to include partitions here in the Management Studio, for example, and do a lot of things that analysis services developers already do on Management Studio. Okay? Very nice feature, very nice news, very nice updates Power BI is making. I hope you enjoyed this. This is all I want to show for you in this second video. And if you like it, please comment below, subscribe to the channel, then I will keep recording and talking more to you in English as well. See you in the next video. Na hora que eu faço Let's Go, faz um barulhinho, né? Faz um barulhinho de transição, né? De tela, não faz? Geralmente faz, né? So what... Para, tô travado. So what we're gonna... Peraí. Refresh. Fala mais devagar, pô. E... Power Desk, Power... Just...